Hello and welcome to the Neville Richards Premier League wrap-up of Round 9, preview of Round 10. I'm Mark Hayes, this is Matt Milne.
Afternoon, everybody.
I promise, Matty, I'll be on my best behaviour after a few errors last week, probably one of which was Brian King getting him in.
Yes, he has caused a lot of commentary over the last week about his performance there, but anyway, it was always good to have one of our participants on board, and I reckon you'd be a bit weary after watching Cam Smith at the Open last night.
Here's cheers to the little mulleted wonder, one of the great rounds of Australian golf of all time, so hang on.
It was a fantastic effort coming from 4 back and getting over the line, 64 in the last round. Just dominated the field in the end, really.
And, to do it at the 150 of that St Andrews, I mean, we could talk about it all day. Just an extraordinary round of golf. If you haven't watched it, go and check it out. It's just unbelievable. Your heart will be pumping. It's really good stuff. Now back to some slightly lower standard golf here. Not too much.
I would have thought this would have been actually high on the agenda of British Open comparisons, but anyway.
Yeah, well, maybe I should apologise. Mate, another one epic match in particular on Saturday, where the ladder took a bit of a beating in a couple of areas. There's a couple of pretty decisive matches too. Let's have a look from the top. The Hookers and the Pirates played an epic clash.
They did, yeah. The weather conditions on Saturday weren't conducive to good scoring, and if you had a look at the comp results there, yeah, the scores weren't great. We did play a par competition, and as we know, with the scoring for Premier League, whatever score you have, we just add the 36 points to it to give you your Stableford score. So, yeah, the Hookers, they got over the top of the Pirates on Saturday, winning 161 to 159. Both teams had 8 players participate for their thing. For the Hookers, Kenny Hughes with a 36, Jill Barker 34, Brian Kinky King 31, Ian Party 30, and Alan Sweeney had 30. While the Pirates were led by Johnny Crossett on 33 and David Newman 33, Mickey McNeil 32, Justin McGrath had 31, and Yvette Pollock had 30. It was a good win by the Hookers, with King, Sheep Farmer Party sort of really lifting. It was actually Ian Party and Jill Barker's best scores for the season.
Is that right?
And also for the Pirates, it was also Johnny Crossett and David Newman's best score for the season as well. But the Pirates were let down by captain and vice-captain, respectively, Solahub 27 and Darren Heaton. He's having a mare at the moment, 23.
Ever since he sort of challenged for that captaincy, it's been downhill.
It has. He has been on struggle street, and just like his football team Richmond, he's performing like them at the moment.
So you reckon it should be the Struggle Street Pirates?
Well, I haven't thought of a new name for them, but they're not waving that sword very well anyway.
I'm going to leave all sword talk behind. I'm still rattled by Kingy last week. So the second match up for discussion, Matty, is the Goblins, who, well, they bounced right back like they were on a mission against the Tornadoes. They
did, and it was pretty much what we expected. It was a pure domination. It was the Goblins 171 to Tornadoes 138. Tornadoes ended up only having 5 players again, while the Goblins had 7. Goblins also win the Callaway prizes this week with the high score for the round. Tornadoes, we'll start with them. Ange Foot 32, Brian Bell 29, Sean Ward 28, Judy Said 27, and Johnny Hill on 22. While the Goblins were sort of stacked at the top there with Gary Haywood and Fleet Pollock on 36. The Genos and Rickos Edmondsons chimed in with 33 each, and Toby Prime had 33, so that was enough to get over the top of the Tornadoes.
Who was that last one?
Toby Prime.
I haven't heard. He hasn't been doing much.
No, well, he come back on Saturday and come up with the goods, but it was left to too few with the Tornadoes. And I want to actually just make a mention of this, that the Tornadoes actually had 9 players on the timesheet the morning of Saturday. And I'm going to call out these 4 blokes that pulled out in the morning due to the weather.
They didn't front, so they had 9 in theory, but 5 in practice.
Yep, so Paul Kirby. Then there was also Patrick Kennedy, Phil Stevens, and Jeff Holland.
These are like firm, strong men.
Yep, and they were not conducive to the weather. And then old Orchid Hill lived up to his nickname as well.
Orchid.
Johnny Orchid Hill. only opens up and performs in the sun. It was cloudy, it was windy, and he put in 22 points. So he lives up to the name.
That's 22 more than those other 4 blokes.
It did. So that could have been a good tussle, but no, they could only conjure up 5 players, unfortunately for them.
Wow, disappointing. Now the next match for discussion was another really good tussle between the back paddock Bullies and the crossover Crusaders, and it went the Bullies' way.
It did, yeah. Bullies got up by 10 points, 167 to 157. The Bullies had 8 players, and the Crusaders had 9 participate on Saturday, which was great.
Yeah.
The Bullies were led by Stan Maskell and Malsey on 35, Jackie Rowe 34, Johnny Wooden out of hospital with a bit of a heart issue last week, pegged it up in those conditions with 32. He definitely showed some heart tornadoes. And Fiona Newman 31, while the Crusaders, Billy Adams 32, Normie Evans 32, Brian Hazel 32, Stig 31, and Johnny Leaking 30. So
That's not bad.
It was a good win by the Bullies.
Yeah.
Like they had a few guys in the morning in those tough conditions. Were able to put the score on the board. Actually, Chris James, after his roast last week, he actually put in his best performance for the season with 27 points. Still didn't count for the team, but at least he's finding a little bit of form there.
I was told that he hadn't really seen the videos until well, as recently as this week.
Well, hopefully he starts to tune in, because I think there could be a bit more action with Chris James over the coming weeks.
Really?
Yeah, you never know. Like the Crusaders were consistent, but they just didn't have that one player to stand out and get close to their handicap. And then one Cloud Ciotis lived up to his name as well. I have been told on good authority that the only reason he pulled out Saturday was for the health of his playing partners. Oh. He wanted to continue, but he didn't want them to injure their health or anything like that.
So a protocols sort of arrangement.
He wanted to keep going apparently, but we'll leave that to everyone's interpretation of what that means.
So the last game that was decided on Saturday was the Peakers, our runaway leaders, against the Warriors, and the Warriors had worked their way back into sort of calculations, but they were summarily dispatched.
They were. The Peakers, consistent again. They had the win 154 to 146. Actually, both teams only had 6 players on Saturday, so it was an even tussle. The Peakers were led by the loved-up couple of the Vogels with 32 each. Chrissy Dodds 31, Yarny had 31, Rod Allen and Lee McMuffin 28. While the Warriors, they were led by Skeeter Howard first out in the morning with 32, Stu Anderson 30, Neil Keskinen 29, Darren Wilson 28 and Richie Howes 27. Even though the Peakers were undermanned, they were still too good. Darren Wilson couldn't reproduce those heroics from last week. McMuffin was only 28. His son actually, Cooper, has started playing comp, so I'm just wondering whether Lee's trying to groom him to be a mini peaker or not for next year. But
I like that.
But the big news from that match was Andrew Wooten, who was the focus of us last week.
Yeah.
Didn't play. Apparently had COVID.
Oh.
So we're not sure whether that's correct or not. Yarny's a bit sceptical of that because he...
Heart-related COVID.
Well, we don't know, but we wish him all the best.
We do.
Hopefully he'll be back in action on Saturday.
Can I just put a question to you without notice about Lee McMurray? There's a little whisper going around that he's started to eyeball off the MVP, the Drayton medal.
Well, he had been sort of looking at that since round 1, because he does rate himself a bit. But yes, he has started out well, but he has started to plateau a little bit. So if he wants to be in contention for that, he's going to have to pull his socks up. And
that's a long way from home to start thinking Drayton medal.
Yeah, well it is. That's what he's like. You haven't really met him, have you? We might have to get Leroy in one afternoon.
Yeah, no, I think we should do that. Now, let's have a quick look at the ladder after that round 9 carnage. So that brings us to round 10, Matty, and there's, well, I wouldn't say it's a blockbuster round, but there are a couple of important clashes. I think we're going to hit the most significant one last. So let's start with the Pirates against the Goblins, which is an important game in the middle of the table. It
is, yes. Well, the Pirates are currently sitting 5th on the ladder while the Goblins are 3rd. Last time they met, the Goblins got over the line in a close one, 155 to 151. Last efforts there, we had Justin McGrath and Dan Hopgood. They were the top scorers last time they met. But it's going to be interesting because there's going to be several players away for both teams in this round. The Pirates aren't going to be with Justin McGrath. He's sunning himself up in Queensland with a Warrior, with Darren Wilson.
With a Warrior?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. I can just see the two of them there rubbing lotion into each other on the beach while enjoying the sunshine, but we'll see what comes from there. Joy Francis is still away and Gary Thompson's in Thailand, but then the Goblins have got at least 3 missing as well. So David Milne's away, Rick and Jen Edmondson are boozing up at Barham or along the river at a tournament up there this weekend, so they won't be here. So it is a big chance for the Pirates to win, and I'd probably implore all your players in there if you should try and turn up this week, because you could be the focus of the video next week if you can perform admirably for your team.
I like that. Good encouragement, mate. The second game is the Hookers and the Crusaders.
Yeah,
This is a big game.
It is 2nd versus 7th. Could have big ramifications on the ladder positioning depending on the way the results go. Last time they met, the Hookers were victorious, 159 to 152. The Hookers had Kingy and Lynn Kirby as the highest scorers, while the Crusaders had Hazel and Jan Cogger. I think since this one, however many rounds ago, Jan Cogger's been ordinary since. Only had 22 on the weekend, so...
Let's put that into perspective. 22 sounds okay. She was 14 down, Matty.
Yeah.
14 down. I'm going to challenge her.
You are?
Yeah, I think so.
Really? So is this going to be a hazy hammer or something, is it?
Hazy's hammer. I like that.
Okay.
I like that. I'm going to put the Whiskers on the line to get her to lift. You've got Jan, you talk a big game as a secretary, you've got to back it up occasionally. 55 points in the next 2 weeks.
That's easy.
Should not be too much.
And I know how much you love your beard.
Yeah, I've been cultivating this for a while. 55 points, Jan. Otherwise, we're going to come up with some sort of bet. It's probably going to revolve around, I don't know, some sort of outfit that you might have to wear. We'll come back to you on that one, but that's the bet on the table. We'll see how we go.
So is that for round 10 and round 11?
Yes. Yeah,
Right.
I think she needs to not only do it once, she needs to show some sort of sustained form.
So 55 points. So that's only like 27 and 28.
Yeah.
If my math is correct.
Big money for Jan.
It is. Well, maybe she needs to speak to her husband, Stephen Cogger, for some advice. She couldn't go any worse, so... the Hookers, really, they should win this, but I don't know, the Crusaders might be looking for that effort to stay in touch with the top 4, but this might be the roast that Jan needs.
Do you think that Steve's gone down Media Street?
Oh, yeah. Channel 7 the other day.
Fox
as well, yeah.
Yeah, he's Media Street. So I don't know if he's stretches to golf coaching. I don't think that's up his alley.
I wouldn't say that would be up his alley, to be honest. We love you, Steve.
We do.
He's known as the 4th pro, though.
Is he?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes. Likes to class himself the 4th pro. Likes to reverse his car in next to ours, and
I like it. Third game this weekend is the Tornadoes and the Peakers. Now, on paper, this is just an absolute blowout, and I'm imploring the Tornadoes to lift, because if you don't lift here, this could spell literally the end of your season. Conversely, the Peakers this far out could seal a finals berth if games panned out the right way.
Yes, and I think you're right there, Hazy. I've got written here, mismatch, going to be a slaughter, one-way traffic. It could be all of the above. Last time they met, the Peakers smashed them 169 to 146. Yarny and Chris Dodds were superior in this match, while the ladies for the Tornadoes, Ange Foot and Judy said, were the high scorers for them. We say it every week that they need some inspiration. I think even at one stage I offered my hair up for the Tornadoes to get them over the line, and that didn't work, but it's got to come deep within if they want to actually do this.
I think Judy, medal recently.
Yeah.
She's got it in her. Ange has clearly got it in her.
Well, they've got some good strength in their team. Like even the Orchid, Johnny Hill, was talking about Cam Smith during the week of how he never gives up. He's calm and demeanour, and he's always putts well, but nothing phases him. Maybe they need to try and take a leaf out of Cam. Maybe watching that last round might get them over the line.
I like it. Now, the fourth and final match set for discussion here is the Bullies and the Warriors. Now, this is the biggest single match in terms of ladder positions.
It is, yeah. The Bullies are 4th and the Warriors are 6th. Last time they met, the Warriors actually smoked the Bullies 166 to 143, but a lot has changed throughout this season. And the Bullies have really hit their straps the last few weeks. When they last met, Stewie Anderson and Helen Powell dominated, while Jackie Rowe, Fiona Newman and Bill Reid performed best for the Bullies there. They have a chance to put a space between themselves and the Warriors on the ladder, but yeah, it's going to be hard. The Bullies will be hoping Swaney would turn up this week. He was a withdrawal last week as well. And the Warriors won't have former hero Darren Wilson because he'll be rubbing oil into Justin up at Queensland together. I have been reliably informed though that Ando will be back from COVID protocols.
Have you got any idea what he's been doing?
Well, he's been at home obviously in isolation out the back. I would have thought you'd be working on your putting swing mechanics and how you could improve your golf because you've been so poor. But I believe all he's been doing is laying on the couch, eating cake, watching Netflix, drinking beer and punting on horses. And it's actually in Yardy's account he's been using. Maybe... he should be watching the British Open because he really needs to live for his team to get him over the line.
He really does. He absolutely does.
He is, yeah. And we all, in all seriousness, we hope you're all right, Ando, with COVID. But from what the guys are telling me is that you've been enjoying 7 days at home, drinking beer and watching TV.
And I'd put it to you, Ando, that you need to challenge Matt. It shouldn't be up to him to come to you with a bet. You need to put it on the big fella here. Don't shirk the issue, mate. Do not shirk the issue.
Well, it could be a big one, this one, because also if we look at the teams there, the Bullies and the Warriors, Ando's old man's in the Bullies.
Oh, is it another?
So Johnny's been in hospital with heart issues for a week. Comes back out when the weather's crap and has a good score. Maybe his son should look
the rumour mirrors
to his father, for inspiration.
If that doesn't get you fired up, Ando, I don't know what will. Now, Matty, we want to pay special tribute to not only Callaway, who've been exemplary all throughout the year, but also to Neville Richards. They're doing a brilliant job of our...
It has been great, yeah. So the support that we've had from our sponsors has been fantastic, and also the support from the players. Like we like to get on here and hang a little bit on everybody, but it's all in good nature and hopefully in good jest that everyone takes it.
Hopefully, otherwise we could be singing for our supper soon. And just don't forget in your diary, September 17, the Drayton medal count and the presentation night and everything to do with what's going on through the year, with a few more giggles courtesy of the missile here. And Matty, I reckon that's about it.
Yes, it should be a good night, the presentation night. We've got lots of stuff planned. There's going to be a bit of entertainment and hopefully we can hit everyone there for the evening. I have been reliably informed that we have got 4 people from Premier League who reside in Geelong have already booked accommodation at the motel.
Nice.
So they're already prepared and ready for the night.
I like it. I like it a lot. September 17, whack it in your diaries. More importantly, whack Saturday morning in your diaries. Get out, shoot a good score and avoid humiliation from M. Milne.
Thank you, Hazy.
Cheers.
See ya.